Rounding out our discussion on the first commandment, have no other gods before me. What does this mean? We should fear, love, trust in God above all things. We're going to ask this last question. This is kind of an add-on to the previous video. We talked about what idols do people follow. Well, today we want to be pretty introspective. We want to take a look at our hearts and our tendencies. Here's the question. What idols threaten to lead you away from God? What tempts you to fear these idols more than God? To love these idols more than God? To trust in these idols more than God? So I want you to think in your own life, and this is where your family can help you out as well. What do they perceive in your life? Are some gods that kind of try to captivate your heart? Whether you fear things, you worry, you're anxious about things, and we forget about the security God offers. Whether it's that you're trusting in other things more than God. And an example of that is whenever there's a problem, what do you think of first? Do you think of going to your Lord God in prayer first? Or do you think about solving it, a solution, or turning to this person or that person or this thing to address that? And then finally, last resort, pray. And then what do you love? What are things that maybe some might say, I wonder if you kind of love that even more than God at times. So have a fruitful discussion on that. Maybe you could ask these questions in this way. What are you afraid of losing in this life? What are things that you love most? What do you trust in to make you really happy and feel secure? Is it the Lord God? What do you take pride in, which helps form your identity? As you pause and talk about those things, I want to give you a passage and just one closing thought about idolatry, which is what we're really talking about. Colossians 3:2. Set your minds on things above, not on earthly things. Set your mind on things above, not on earthly things. This is kind of an interesting insight. God, when he created us to be worshipers. Of course, he created us to worship him. And when we were in perfection, in Adam and Eve, when they were first created, God alone would be the true God. But when we fell into sin, we fell into a pattern of thinking that we would exalt anything else above God than God. And ultimately that stems from wanting ourselves to be God. If we can have control of this or that and be our own authority and bow down to this or whatever, then being independent from the Lord God, we think that we can be God ourselves. It's really the fall into sin. The first sin actually that the devil fell into or embraced. He wanted to be God. And so he fought God to sit on God's throne and of course lost. But we play out that same sin. So again, just keep that in mind. We are created to be worshipers. And yet in our fallen nature, we want to decide what we're going to worship. And in that, we exalt ourselves to God's throne or try to. Okay, so have a blessed conversation on what are particular idols that you are tempted by. And in that, maybe support one another to try to protect each other from following after those false gods so that we might always keep the true God who alone can save, who already has done that for us, the Apostle Creed truths, and then fear, love, and trust in him above all things. God bless.